Two young brothers, ages 10 and 12, came home with two $50 bills. Their mother notices this and asks,
"Where did you boys get all that money?"
"Well,"
says the 10-year-old,
"we were standing outside the brothel when some old guy walked out. We told him we knew where he's been, so he gave us $50 and told us not to tell anyone."
"Then we followed the man,
adds the other boy.
and when we came to his house, we told him now we know where he lives. Then he gave us another $50 and begged us to keep quiet." "That's truly awful behavior,"
The mother scolds.
"You boys should be ashamed of yourselves. That poor old man. I want both of you to go to church and confess."
The boys do as their mother asks and go to church to confess. A while later, they return home with another $100. The mother asks,
"Now, where did you boys get more money? I told you what you were doing was wrong. Didn't you go to the church and confess like I told you?"
One of the boys replies,
"Yes, we did. But now we know where he works."
An elderly couple are lying in bed together one night. The husband is trying to fall asleep, but the wife is in a romantic mood and wants to talk. She says,
"You used to hold my hand when we were courting."
Warily, he reaches across, holds her hand for a second, then tries to go back to sleep. A few moments later, she says,
"Then you used to kiss me."
Mildly irritated, he reaches across, gives her a peck on the cheek, and settles down to sleep. 30 seconds later, she says,
"Then you used to bite my neck."
Angrily, he throws back the bedding and gets out of bed.
"Where are you going?"
She asks. He yells back at her, "To get my teeth!" The teacher asks the class to use the word fascinate in a sentence. Molly puts up her hand and says,
"My family went to my granddad's farm, and we all saw his pet sheep. It was fascinating."
The teacher says,
"That was good. But I wanted you to use the word fascinate, not fascinating."
Caroline raised her hand. She says,
"My family went to see New York City, and I was fascinated."
The teacher sighs and says,
"Well, that was good, Caroline, but I wanted you to use the word fascinate."
Then little Johnny raises his hand. The teacher knows he is a bit of a scamp, but she is desperate to finish this lesson and she cannot see how he can possibly damage the word fascinate. The teacher points to Johnny and says,
"Okay, Johnny, please use the word fascinate in a sentence."
Little Johnny says,
"My Aunt Carolyn has a sweater with 10 buttons. But her breasts are so big, she can only fascinate."
A husband and wife were traveling by car from Key West to Boston. After almost 15 hours on the road, they're too tired to continue, and they decide to stop for a rest. They stopped at a nice hotel and took a room, but they only planned to sleep for 4 hours and then get back on the road. When they checked out 4 hours later, the desk clerk handed them a bill for $350. The man explodes and demands to know why the charge is so high. He tells the clerk, although it's a nice hotel, the rooms certainly aren't worth $350. When the clerk tells him that $350 is the standard rate, the man insists on speaking to the manager. The manager appears, listens to the man, and then explains that the hotel has an Olympic-sized pool and a huge conference center that was available for the husband and wife to use.
"But we didn't use them,"
the man complains.
"Well, they are here, and you could have,"
explains the manager. He goes on to explain that they could have taken in one of the shows for which the hotel is famous.
"The best entertainers from New York, Hollywood, and Las Vegas perform here,"
the manager says.
"But we didn't go to any of those shows,"
complains the man again.
"Well, we have them, and you could have,"
the manager replies. No matter what facility the manager mentions, the man replies,
"But we didn't use it."
The manager is unmoved, and eventually the man gives up and agrees to pay. The man writes a check and gives it to the manager. The manager is surprised when he looks at the check.
"But,"
he says,
"this check is only for $100, sir."
"That's right,"
says the man.
I charged you $250 for sleeping with my wife.
But I didn't,
exclaims the manager.
Well,
The man replies,
she was here, and you could have.
I had a blind date last night with a girl I met on a dating app. The problem was, she had no profile pic. But then neither did I, and I consider myself quite handsome. So I was concerned. What do I do if she's really unattractive? I'll be stuck with her all night. Well, as it turns out, there's an app for that. It's called Mom, Are You Okay? It schedules your phone to ring just after you meet your date. If you like him or her, you ignore the call. If you want to cut the date short, you can answer with something like, "Mom, what's the matter? Are you okay?" The description said that it works every time. So I knocked on the girl's door. As it turns out, I needn't have worried. She was gorgeous. My eyes were in a realm of happiness like never before. I couldn't get over how beautiful she was. Just as I was about to speak to her, her phone rang. She excused herself to answer her phone.
Mom, what's the matter? Are you okay?
An old man, a boy, and a donkey are going to town. The boy rides on the donkey as the old man walks beside them. Soon, they pass some people who remark that it's a shame the old man is walking and the boy is riding. The old man and the boy think maybe the critics are right, so they change positions. Later, they pass another group of people that remark that it's a shame the old man makes the little boy walk. So the old man and the boy decide they will both walk. A while later, they pass more people who think they are stupid to walk when they have a decent donkey to ride. So they both hop on the donkey. Next, they pass some people that shame them by telling them how awful it is to put such a load on a poor donkey. The old man and the boy agree they're probably right, so they decide to carry the donkey. As they cross a bridge, they lose their grip on the donkey and it falls into the river and drowns. The old man turns to the boy and says, "Well, I guess if you try to please everyone, you can kiss your ass goodbye." A lady is walking past a pet store when she hears a parrot say,
Hey, lady, you really should lay off the pudding.
The lady is insulted, but ignores the bird and continues on her way. On the way home, she passes by the pet store again, and the parrot once more says,
Hey, lady, you really should lay off the pudding.
By this time, she is furious, so she storms into the pet store and tells the manager about the bird. The store manager apologizes profusely and promises it will never happen again. The next day, the woman deliberately passes by the pet store to test the parrot.
Hey, lady,
Says the parrot.
Yes?
She asks in a challenging tone. The parrot replies,
you know.
During a recent physical examination, Dave's doctor asked him about his physical activity level. He described a typical day. Well, yesterday afternoon I took a 5-hour walk through some pretty rough terrain. I waded along the edge of a lake and pushed my way through the brush. I got sand in my shoes and my eyes, and I narrowly avoided standing on a snake. I climbed several rocky hills. I had to stop several times to relieve myself behind some big trees. The mental stress of it all left me shattered. At the end, I drank 8 beers. Inspired by the story, the doctor said, "You must be one heck of an outdoorsman." "Nope," Dave replied. "I'm just a really bad golfer." One day, the emperor decides that he wants to find the best samurai in the world. So he sends his men out to find some contenders. They come back with 3 men: a Japanese samurai, a Chinese samurai, and a Jewish samurai. The next day, the emperor holds tryouts to see who is the best. First, he brings in the Japanese samurai. As the Japanese samurai strides into the great hall and approaches him, The emperor pulls out a box, opens it, and from it flies out a single fruit fly. Without hesitation, the Japanese samurai whips out his sword, shouts his battle cry, and cuts the fly into two perfect halves. Impressed, the emperor sends this samurai off. Next, the emperor brings in the Chinese samurai. Again, as the samurai approaches, he opens the fly box. The Chinese samurai swings his sword, and two perfect halves fall to the ground. The emperor, impressed, sends this samurai away. Finally, it's time for the Jewish samurai. As the samurai approaches, the emperor sets the fly free. Without hesitation, the Jewish samurai swings his sword, but instead of the fly falling to the ground, it lets out a loud "eek" and flies away. The emperor bursts into laughter and asks,
You can't even kill a fly. Why should I hire you?
The Jewish samurai looks at him calmly and replies, You should try circumcising something that small. A man walked into a restaurant with a full-grown ostrich behind him. As he sat down, the waitress came over and asked for their orders. The man said, I'll have a hamburger, fries, and a Coke. Then he turned to the ostrich and asked, What's yours?
I'll have the same,
Said the ostrich. A short time later, the waitress returned with the order saying,
That will be $6.40, please.
So the man reached into his pocket and pulled out the exact change for payment. The next day, the man and the ostrich came again, and the man said, I'll have a hamburger, fries, and a Coke. Then the ostrich said,
I'll have the same.
Once again, the man reached into his pocket and paid with exact change. This became a routine until late one evening, the two entered again.
The usual?
Asked the waitress. No, it's Friday night, so I will have a steak, baked potato, and a salad, said the man.
Same for me,
Said the ostrich. A short time later, the waitress came out with the order and said,
That'll be $12.62, please.
Once again, the man pulled the exact change out of his pocket and placed it on the table. The waitress couldn't hold back her curiosity any longer.
Excuse me, sir? How do you manage to always come up with the exact change out of your pocket every time?
Well, said the man, several years ago I was cleaning the attic and I found an old lamp. When I rubbed it, a genie appeared and offered me 2 wishes. My first wish was that if I ever had to pay for anything, I would just put my hand in my pocket and the right amount of money would always be there.
That's brilliant,
Said the waitress.
Most people would wish for $1 million or something, but you'll always be as rich as you want for as long as you live.
That's right. Whether it's a gallon of milk or a Rolls Royce, the exact money is always there, said the man. The waitress asked,
One other thing, sir. What's with the ostrich?
The man sighed, paused, and answered, My second wish was for a tall chick with long legs who agrees with everything I say. 3 spies are captured by a terrorist group, a Frenchman, a German, and an Italian. The captors first take the French spy in for interrogation. They tie his hands behind a chair and torture him for 2 hours before he spills the beans. The captors throw him back into the cell and drag the German out for his interrogation. As before, they tie his hands behind the chair and begin torturing him. The German resists for 4 hours before finally giving in. The captors throw him back into the cell and then drag the Italian out. They tie his hands behind the chair and begin torturing him. 4 hours pass, then 8, then 16. Even 24 hours later, the interrogators have not been able to get a word out of the Italian. Frustrated, they throw him back into the cell. Impressed by the Italian's resistance, the other 2 spies ask him,
How did you manage to keep quiet for so long?
The Italian responds, Oh, I wanted to talk, but I just couldn't move my hands.